Regarding the joint patrols conducted by the Chinese and Russian air forces, the Chinese Ministry of National Defense has already released relevant information, and we also responded yesterday. I would like to emphasize once again that this China-Russia Joint Strategic Air Patrol is part of the annual cooperation plan, demonstrating both sides' determination and capability to jointly address regional security challenges and maintain regional peace and stability. There is no need for the Japanese side to make a fuss about it. Don't take it personally. The Chinese consular reminder has already made things very clear. Japan has recently experienced a series of earthquakes. These have resulted in multiple injuries. Tsunamis have been observed in many parts of Japan, and over 100,000 people have received evacuation orders. According to announcements from relevant Japanese authorities, there may be even larger earthquakes to follow. Out of a sense of responsibility for the safety and health of Chinese citizens, the Chinese government promptly issued a temporary alert to protect the safety of Chinese nationals overseas. This is a duty that Chinese diplomacy must fulfill, and also an inherent responsibility of diplomacy to serve the people. Younger sister, Prime Minister Kishida's erroneous remarks regarding Taiwan have not only aroused strong indignation among the Chinese people, but have also faced increasing objective and rational opposition and criticism within Japan itself. I have noticed that recently the former editor-in-chief of Seikai magazine and the former president of Iwanami Shoten stated that Prime Minister Kishida frequently talks about dialogue, but true dialogue begins with respecting the other party and understanding them from an equal footing. With Kishida's attitude, genuine dialogue is simply impossible. This statement gets to the heart of the issue. Recently, the Chinese embassy in Cambodia has once again issued a safety alert, advising Chinese citizens to temporarily avoid traveling to the Cambodia-Thailand border area. The embassy is currently working to further understand and verify the relevant information reported by the media. Within the scope of its responsibilities, the embassy will provide consular protection and assistance to the Chinese citizens involved. We would like to emphasize that going against the tide of economic globalization and engaging in protectionism, it harms others without benefiting oneself. We hope the relevant party will correct these mistaken practices as soon as possible, work together with China, and jointly safeguard the overall interests of bilateral economic and trade relations. The EU delegation to China's statement on human rights in China disregards the facts, turns black into white, and is filled with lies and false information maliciously slandering China's human rights situation. It grossly interferes in China's internal affairs and judicial sovereignty, and seriously violates international law and the basic norms of international relations. China strongly condemns and firmly opposes this, and has lodged stern representations with the EU side. We would like to point out that in recent years, the human rights situation in the EU has continued to deteriorate, with racial discrimination, violations of the rights of refugees and migrants, and restrictions on freedom of speech. There are also phenomena such as condoning religious hatred, judicial injustice, and violence against women, all of which are violations of human rights. These issues emerge one after another. The EU turns a blind eye to its own problems while pointing fingers at other countries. The world has long seen through this hypocrisy and double standard. The EU is in no position to act as a human rights teacher, let alone claim to be a so-called defender of human rights. We strongly urge the EU to reflect on itself and correct its own actions. Respect the basic facts. View the achievements of China's human rights cause objectively. Stop engaging in megaphone diplomacy. Stop politicizing and instrumentalizing human rights issues. And stop interfering in other countries' internal affairs under the pretext of human rights.
A high-stakes aerial chess match has unfolded over East Asia. Russia and China launched a long-distance joint flight from the Sea of Japan towards the East China Sea, an 8-hour patrol that sent Tokyo and Seoul into full alert mode. Japan and South Korea scrambled their fighter jets as 2 Russian Tu-95 strategic bombers and 2 Chinese H-6 bombers approached, joined by 4 J-16 fighters weaving between Okinawa and Miyako. Military radars lit up across the region, marking one of the most intense joint air operations near Japan this year. For Japan's defense minister Shinjiro Koizumi, there was nothing routine about it, calling the coordinated flight a show of force aimed directly at Japan, a deliberate move escalating security concerns for Tokyo's northwest skies. South Korea reported that 9 foreign aircraft swept into its air defense buffer, 7 Russian, 2 Chinese, prompting a swift protest to both Moscow and Beijing. Seoul insisted it would respond firmly to any repeat intrusion. But the skies were already tense. Just days earlier, Japan said China's J-15 fighters repeatedly locked their targeting radar on Japanese F-15s near Okinawa, a breach Tokyo condemned as dangerous and extremely regrettable. The U.S. backed Japan, warning Beijing that such actions threatened regional stability. Beijing hit back. China accused Japan of staging provocations and called itself the victim, dismissing U.S. criticism and urging global powers to not be misled by Japan's narrative.
It was the Japanese side that deliberately caused trouble first. They then spread rumors and hyped things up, making them the planners and perpetrators of this farce, who must bear full responsibility. We hope the international community can distinguish right from wrong and not be misled by the Japanese side. Japan's allies in particular should remain vigilant and not be swayed by Japan's narrative. This joint China-Russia strategic air patrol is part of the annual cooperation plan, demonstrating both sides' determination and capability to jointly address regional security challenges and safeguard regional peace and stability.
Moscow, meanwhile, insisted the patrol was part of a pre-planned 2025 cooperation program, saying it was not directed at any third country. But the flight path through some of Asia's most sensitive air corridors told its own story. With Japan scrambling jets, South Korea filing protests, the U.S. issuing warnings, and Russia and China flying shoulder to shoulder, a new security triangle is emerging over the Pacific.